Over the past week, there are a couple of things that have really taken my love and affection and obsession. So first, there's spinning. You know, the fibre kind, not the cycling, going nowhere fast kind. And there's my video production, which I've spent more time on and I've been trying to get better at. Both have forced me to think about my love-hate relationship with perfection, or the idea of perfection. Nobody starts spinning their first yarn or producing their first video and gets it perfect right away. You've just got to try and keep trying until eventually it becomes that bit more natural and it just comes to you, and at that point you get it. And you either love it or you don't. Helping friends learn to spin in the past few weeks has really made me realize that as adults, we seem to struggle to just relax into learning something new and kind of just enjoy not being good at something while we're getting there. In comparison, if you look at kids, they can contemplate something, they can spend ages doing something and kind of letting their minds grow around it. And as adults, I think we need to do the same, really. For example, my nephew drew this for me. Have I even got it the right way up? Yeah, I do. And told me with conviction that this is Lightning McQueen. Sure, but he was certainly proud of it, even though it's not the best drawing he's ever going to make, I think. And the same as adults, we should be proud of the first yarn we spun, no matter how thick and thin or weird or wild it is. It's a step towards perfect? Is that what we're looking for? So yesterday, when my new camera arrived, I was obviously really excited. Merry Christmas to me, Merry Christmas to me, Merry Christmas to me. But overwhelmingly, I was scared. I think I was terrified at the thought of having so much to learn, so much new stuff to try and discover, and wanting to basically be perfect right away, which I assure you it will not be. More than anything, I knew that I couldn't blame the camera anymore for not being perfect, and that the only thing standing between me and the video I want to create is my own abilities and my own competences. And that's scary because the only thing that's left is just having to prove myself. As a result, I started thinking about what perfection was to me and what I was actually trying to achieve, which again brought me back to spinning. When I started spinning, this is my first, or I think it's my first handspun. It's possible that I tried another bit before, but this is certainly the first one that I've kept. And it's 2-ply, kind of very thick and thin, and there's all sorts of vegetable matter mixed into it that I guess I never cleaned off. Smells fairly sheepy. So when I started spinning, what I viewed as perfection was lace weight, extra fine, perfectly even throughout. And I mean, I did make some reasonable progress, and I got to, I think I've probably made more even than this, but this was probably the peak of my attempt at making very fine kind of 2 or 3-ply yarn, before I realized that I didn't love it because it felt like there wasn't that much of my personality in it. And to me, that wasn't going to be perfection. I realized that I was basically trying to emulate commercial yarn rather than create my own handspun that really meant something to me. So I started creating all sorts of fun, funky stuff. So this one's quite a nice, fine single, but it does vary a little bit, thick and thin. And then this, I had a bit of a play on the drum carder with colours. And I made yarn that contained multiple colours and 2 plies. The second ply was commercial yarn that I think I found in a charity shop. And then I thought I'd go a little bit even wilder. Take a look at this. This contains all sorts of curls and whirls of Wensleydale mixed with different colours of merino, and it was just an absolute blast to spin. And I realised that what makes me happy as a hand spinner is doing something that represents me. It doesn't mean it has to fit the mold of what other far more talented spinning friends can achieve. To them, if a fine lace weight is the right thing to make because it suits them, then that's great. But in my case, it turned out that actually what I wanted to do was just completely gorgeous, bonkers stuff, and that was my happiness. And the same applies no matter what you're doing, whether it's video production or just finding that sweet spot of enjoyment with any craft or any cooking, baking, anything that you enjoy doing. It's really finding what makes that activity just perfect for you, and might not be somebody else's perfection, doesn't matter. So what makes me happy with my videos? Well, it's things like playing with framing a bit, playing with colours, playing with lights, though I still can't bear out of focus. So I'd love to hear in the comments, where do you feel you sit on that scale? Do you strive for perfection because you enjoy making something and knowing you make it perfectly? Or do you like the gamble of possible imperfection in order to try something new? Let's hear it. Now let's take a look at works in progress, finished objects, and generally what I've been fiddling with this week. I've been in very much a rip things out and no nonsense spring cleaning kind of mode. I've pulled out a couple of pairs of socks which I was working on but I didn't really like. One was a slip stitch pattern and it just felt a little bit too stiff. It didn't feel like it was going to be very comfortable. So ripped it out, back into a ball, and we'll start again. And it's funny, I've learned not to feel bad about the time that I've invested into a project when I just know in the deepest, darkest corner, I know that if I were to finish it, it would probably just sit in the basket of unloved things that you knit, you finish, and you never wear, because you knew all along the way that either it wasn't your colour, it wasn't the right fit, or there was just something about it that didn't make you adore it. So I've gotten to a stage now where I prefer to take something completely out and start again, or start something new with the same materials, rather than complete it and just leave it aside. I've got quite a few projects that I've finished and I just haven't worn, haven't felt they were worthy to give away. I'm sure that some that I don't like, I should probably show to friends or to family, because it might be something that completely strikes a chord with them and that they'll love. But aside from the things that I've pulled apart, I have managed to achieve a little bit of knitting. It's not been a very knitty week. It's been a very spinny week. In fact, let's look at the spinning first. So my absolute love has to be this skein. This came as a big fluffy cloud bat from Spin City, and this arrived at the same time as the spindles that I've been using to teach some of my friends to spin, and I think this reflects Louise from Spin City's personality so beautifully. She is bubbly, she is kind of just so pink and sweet and nice, and this is my happiness. This is how, it's not the neatest yarn, it's not the tidiest finish, but it just makes me so happy. It's quite thick and thin, and that was very, very much on purpose, thick and thin. And there are colours other than pink, a kind of royal blue, a brighter sky blue, a little bit of kind of grassy green, and a lot of sparkles. And I have just tried to mix it through, and I don't know what I'm going to do. It's so nice, I would just wear it like this. It's just... And then the other skein that I spun is from the Hedgehog Fibres club I used to be part of, and this is 100% Falkland wool, and it's just really lovely. I made a fairly thick single, and I then washed it fairly aggressively so that by washing it, you essentially felt it a little bit, so it stays nice and tight together, and it means even the kind of very lightly spun areas should not come apart. And of this, I have another whole bag. So this gives you an idea of what state it's in when it arrives. This one is a little bit darker. It's got some darker bits like that. I got 2 bags of it, and when it arrives, it's just one very long, let's find the end, a very long strip. And in this case, I just started from the end, and I was non-judgmental about the order the colors were coming in, and just let it go, and as Elsa would say, and just go with the flow, go with the colors, and go from one end to the other. Some people like to make rolags, which are kind of little cigars of fluff, and then you can organize it into a gradient, or you can choose to make stripes. It gives you much more control because each little cigar can be ordered in whichever way you want. But I'm way too lazy for that. So I have spun that first 100 grams, and I'll be spinning the second one, and who knows, for the time being I'm enjoying spinning as an almost meditation-like activity. It's just been lovely. I've also been working a little bit on... no, that's the wrong bag. See, this is the pair of socks that I've frogged. It's not the pair of socks I've been working on. So in that case, I have no idea where Andrew's socks are. They might be by the TV. So I'm working on a pair of navy and purple, very simple vanilla socks for him. And these are the slip stitch socks that I'd started for originally for him. Turns out they were too small, so they were going to be for me, and I'll just start them again. I have no problem with that. And no slip stitch pattern, just lovely plain vanilla. I've really loved recently wearing handmade socks. When I started, I wanted to learn to make socks. I wasn't sure if I was going to regularly wear them or if I'd even make them again. And you know what? They are so comfortable. Once you find the perfect fit for you, they tend to be a bit thicker than commercial socks. They tend to be a little bit sturdier. And do they ever keep your feet warm? I think I'm getting to the point in the season where I may have to put them away until the autumn because it's getting a bit toasty. Certainly some other regions sounds like they've already started almost settling into pre-summer spring, isn't it? As far as what I'm planning on working on next, I have managed to resist castonitis over the past week by going back to my exploration station. If you remember, you lovely viewers helped me pick the original colorway. Many episodes ago, I put 3 color schemes up for the vote, and you chose this one, which I still adore. I have learnt all sorts of things about choosing colors. That means that I probably wouldn't choose colors of the same tone and saturation again, but I do love how rich these colors are. So I'm working on my exploration station, and literally all I've done this week is this tiny little section. I used to be scared of brioche, and that's the reason I stopped. I thought I'll teach myself brioche and I'll get a little bit more practice, and then once I'm confident enough, then I'll carry on with this. And it turns out it's beautifully simple, and the increases in brioche are also not terrifying. I was so happy to get to grips with that. So I have been working on this, and it's still a teeny tiny baby shawl, but I know that by the time it's done, it's going to be an absolute gigantic, beautiful thing. So as a reminder of the colors, let's see, can I hold all 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. So, woo, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the colors I'm using. They are all Skein Queen. These two are lustrous. The bottom one is, the grey one is Selkino, and this top one is, I can't remember. But they're all really lovely soft yarns to work with, and they're quite shiny. So I think the finished result will feel very very shiny and sparkly and kind of glamorous. And I think I love the style of the exploration station so much. I'll either make this one again, or I am also eyeing Stephen West's Dotted Rays, which I'm hoping to make using a range of kind of pinks and greys that I have in my stash, along with the beautiful baby pink kid silk mohair that I picked up at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. It's just going to bring everything together so nicely. I'm really looking forward to starting with that. But I thought I was such a good girl that I carried on with the knit. Ow! Carried on with the knit. Ow! I just flicked the needle to my neck. I was such a good girl that I carried on working on a project that I've already started rather than start something new, because heaven knows I've got a lot of existing works in progress. So I have enjoyed very much working on this, and my next project as far as spinning goes, because I'm really getting back into spinning. Hopefully this summer I'll be able to take part in Tour de Fleece. If you enjoy spinning, take a look on Ravelry for I can't pronounce it in English, it sounds wrong. Tour de Fleece, let's just put it that way. So it happens at the same time as the Tour de France, and essentially spinners give themselves challenges on every day where the cyclists are also cycling. So there will be normal days where you just give yourself a challenge to spin every day. But on specific days where I don't really know what happens in the Tour de France. I've never been one to really follow it. But there's a day where they will be doing particular distances or particular heights, and you give yourself a special challenge on those days as well, if you feel like it. So, actually, I'd forgotten. This was meant to be my project for Tour de Fleece 3 years ago, I think. I prepared 12 bats of this fibre, which was a mix, if I remember right, of blue-faced Leicester and merino, probably of the white, and then various bits of silk noil, which gives you all the colour and a little bit of sparkle. I made those 12 beautiful clouds, and the idea was to spin all 12 of those during Tour de Fleece, and I finished them 6 months ago. So it took me 2.5 years to get that batch done, and I'm not done the project, obviously. So the next challenge is going to be actually knitting this. So I am hoping to make a fairly simple raglan jumper, and I'll probably do it top down because it will give me a bit more of an opportunity to figure out how much yarn I've got in total. I've got 6 skeins, not all quite as big as this. One is quite a lot smaller. So I need to figure out if it's going to be enough for a grown-up sweater. And I would love to be able to say I've made the whole thing from fibre all the way to a wearable garment. So I'm planning on doing my research, doing my swatching, and getting started with this. And as if that's not a big enough challenge, this is my other challenge. This is, of course, Wingham never put anything on the label. If I remember right, this is mostly about 3 or 4 shades of merino. Oof, it's tightly packed in the bag. 3 or 4 shades of merino in the tealy green colours, and a little bit of white silk as well. So that just gives it that beautiful shine. And what I'd like to do is basically spin That's 500 grams. Spin the whole bag probably, and make myself a sweater out of that as well. Or maybe a cardigan for something a little bit different. But that would be another complete beginning to end project. And again, am I striving for perfection, or am I trying to teach myself something new at the possibility and risk of being imperfect? I think I'm going for the latter. Gotta love a bit of a challenge. So here's a quick one for the camera lovers, just so you can see. Here's my new kit. So it's the Canon 80D. Hello. With the external Rode microphone. And currently it's got the kit lens on. Ooh, come on. Which is the 18-135. And you see, this is why I changed camera. Why isn't the G7X focusing? Come on. And the second lens is the 10-22, which is fantastic for getting insanely wide angle, even when you're up close. In fact, I'll show you. So this is how close the camera and I can be with the 18-135. I'm literally a foot away, and switching to the other lens, without moving the camera at all, same distance, you can now see my entire craft room. So what does this mean in practical terms? Well, aside from being able to do this, I guess it means I'm going to have to tidy up my craft room more, because you'll be able to see the entire room. I suppose it makes it easier for me to show you more and to have more control over how I show you. It's a fun challenge. It's something that's going to leave me completely out of my depth. But again, not striving for perfection, striving for just having fun and doing something awesome. I wanted to give a few shout outs to, again, the wonderful, wonderful participants in the battle against boring. Do have a look at the Ravelry thread that we've started some time ago now, and there are just some wonderful additions. And last week I talked about a few of the creations of your personal challenges that you've set yourself in the battle against boring. But there's one in particular I cannot believe I forgot. I swear when I saw it, I nearly cried. It was so sweet. So the user is Finoni B, and she decorated the fireplace at her new place with the Along the Lanes name. It's just so cute and so sweet of her. I couldn't believe when I saw it. It was just very sweet. And also Night Portal has made a fantastic beaded lace shawl. If you've never tried beading, that's another one that is so worth trying. In this, I can hardly call this beading because it's only 5 rows of beading. But the bottom of my Ishbel has little beads, and I keep catching it just in the sun and seeing just the little shimmer, the little sparkle, and it just makes me happy. It's already quite a well, I wouldn't say lurid, but certainly very colourful shawl, so it didn't strictly need beads added to it, but I really like the effect that it adds. And also for a lace shawl, it adds a nice bit of weight to it to kind of make it hang nicely. Talk about shawls, I haven't mentioned the one I'm wearing, have I? I will answer the question because otherwise it will be asked in the comments. So this is the, still unblocked, the Trillian shawl. I was actually wearing it the wrong way around, which is a very lovely and simple shawl by Martina Behm, who apparently was at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. If I'd realised, I would have gone and given her a big hug because I absolutely adore her patterns. They're simple, yet clever, and really comfortable and garter squishy. So this is my Trillian in Manos del Uruguay Alegria yarn, and it's just so comfortable and cozy and lovely. So there you go, I haven't forgotten this time. So this brings me to the end of another episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've liked seeing my colourful, wild spinning, do give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. I have so much lovely stuff I'm looking forward to doing and showing and sharing with you this summer. I'm already at summer. I just want it to be summer already. Do pop by the Ravelry group along the lines, and you can find me on Twitter as Vero and on Instagram and Ravelry as That Canadian Girl. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye. The Ravelry group on Ravelry. Yes, that's the one. That was a complete mess, wasn't it? Start that again. Today I've made my way to London. I had a wonderful time at the YouTube office this afternoon. It was great fun to